Hey, we're live. Yay.
No, you sure? Could be
Totally.
Memorex.
I am absolutely. Oh, you're right. Could be Memorex. Timely reference. All right. We need intro music. Welcome to the Iron Sysadmin podcast, your source for IT news, commentary, and a healthy dose of paranoia. Hey, folks. Welcome to episode 37 of the Iron Sysadmin podcast. I'm joined once again by.
Uh, I think that's me.
That's you.
Okay, thanks. I'm here.
I threw you
Oh, I
off
should say my
without.
name, huh?
I threw you off without the pink missile silo comment, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. I'm thoroughly confused now. I'm here. I'm
That's
on the
Jason.
podcast. Yeah, that's me.
In case you guys don't recognize his voice,
La la la.
it's been hit or miss with hosts lately, guys. We get. I'm the only one constant, except when I wasn't here. But then there were no shows, so I maintain a 100%.
Well, that's cheating.
Yeah. So Dustin couldn't join us tonight. He's busy doing I don't know whatever Dustin's do.
Ugh, that guy.
That guy. So you ever have one of those dreams where like you're half asleep and you have this brilliant idea?
Yeah, it's how I get all my work done. Well, it's how I would get all my work done, except that I'm asleep.
Yeah, it's this is going to sound really funny and dated, but back when I was first getting into computers, we're talking like mid to late 90s, and I was on a Windows 3.1 machine. My first computer, right? Still running DOS and Windows 3.1. And I was trying to figure out how batch files worked, which today is like, well, it's simple. It's just a bunch of commands dumped into a file, right? But I had no idea that that's what it was because I didn't know any better. I didn't know anything about what I was doing. Well, one night I was like falling asleep and it hit me like an epiphany like, oh, it's just DOS commands dumped into a file. And then the next day I could write batch commands, batch files.
Okay.
Anyway, MIT is trying to tap into that part of your brain where just before you go to sleep, you have these crazily creative ideas and inventive things. There's an article from from Vice, motherboardvice.com. It's actually kind of interesting. Basically, they've developed a way to sort of get you into that state just before you fall into deep sleep and kind of, I don't know, keep you half awake and half asleep so that your brain can just sort of stay there and hang out and have creative ideas. Kind of interesting technology. What do you think, Jason?
Uh, Screwing with your mind.
Yeah, it is
I don't
weird.
know. I feel like there was a movie that had this in it.
Yeah, that involved almost dying though.
And I feel like keeping me somewhere between asleep and awake means that I don't ever get any sleep. So
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not forever. It's just when you have this device they're designing on, and it goes on your hand, which is weird.
yeah, the hand part of it is kind of weird.
Yeah,
I don't know that I understand
mean,
that.
I have no idea how this stuff works, obviously, so I really don't know what the hand is all about. I'm sure this very long article tells you all about why and how it works. There's even a picture of like a picture here of a guy sleeping
That
with this funny glove on.
that would require reading. I don't
Listen,
understand.
I started reading this article and then I realized that it's like a novel. And I got about, I don't know, a third of the way through it. What I read was pretty interesting. Neat stuff. I don't know. I think it'd be cool to be able to tap into that kind of stuff. That kind of that part of your brain, you know?
It absolutely would. I'd be terrified to know what's in there, but it would be neat.
Well, on the bright side, you can keep that to yourself. It's not like they have a video camera into your brain.
Yet.
You can be like, there were octopuses and it was weird. Or you can just be silent and say, it was like puppies. Puppies. Octopi,
Puppies?
I guess is the right word, isn't it? Is that the plural form of octopus?
I think the plural form of octopus is octopus.
Really?
Yeah.
I always thought it was one of those that you change the S to an I.
Nope.
Octopi.
I think this was on
Octopus.
My brain is not working. I think this was on an episode of Penn and Teller, or no, Penn Sunday School. I think they talked about
Oh,
this.
really? Somehow that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, he likes octopus. So. Or
the plural form of octopus.
According to English Stack Exchange usage, the standard English plural of octopus is octopuses. However, the word octopus comes from Greek, and the Greek plural form is octopodes.
Octopodes.
Modern usage of octopodes is so infrequent that many people mistakenly create the erroneous plural form octopi, formed according to rules for Latin plurals.
See that?
Google. I think I like cephalopods better.
Google for the win. It just answered all of our questions about the plural form of the word octopus. Welcome to Iron Sysadmin, folks.
I think I like cephalopods.
Cephalopods. Okay. I guess that works. Speaking of Google answering all of our questions, how would you feel about an Amazon robot in your house?
That depends on how fast I get my Prime deliveries once the robot is in the house.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the Amazon robot will have a replicator and it can simply create your Prime deliveries on the fly.
I want a replicator. That
would be awesome, wouldn't it?
I've decided that I need a replicator in my life.
It would solve so many problems. So many problems. So Bloomberg reports that supposedly there is information leaked about a top secret plan at Amazon to build home robots. This is how it ends, folks.
Top secret plan to build robots.
Yeah, the top secret thing has me sort of...
I think they failed the top secret part of it.
That they do. Apparently, people are speculating on this because of some job postings that Amazon had. Let me see if I can find the... let's see. There are dozens of listings on the Lab 126 jobs page for openings like software engineer, robotics, and principal sensors engineer. Now, Lab 126 is apparently where all of Amazon's hardware devices come out of, like the Fire TV and the Echo and stuff like that, and Fire tablets. So I can't imagine that there would be no use for principal sensor engineers at a place that does hardware, but software engineer for robotics does seem sort of telling. So yeah, Amazon may be planning to make robots that will live in our homes. Then they will force you to have robots so they can spy on you and sell you things.
I like robots.
Yeah,
What could possibly go wrong?
An Amazon spokesperson said that the company doesn't comment on rumors and speculation. So obviously they're not saying, yep, we're totally building robots.
No, they wouldn't say
the Amazon from. Yeah, people are familiar with the project speculate that... Oh, they're calling it the Vesta. Now, for a top secret thing, they have a name for it. Vesta. Which is apparently like a Roman goddess of the hearth or something.
Goddess of the hearth?
Yeah, like the hearth and home.
Okay.
Hearth being a term that people use to describe the household. Because, the hearth is there.
Home is where the hearth is?
Do you know what a hearth is?
Yes, I know what a hearth is. That's the stone that I used in World
of
Warcraft to get back to my... Duh.
Back to your home.
Yeah.
There's a reason for that.
But I had to tag the home, so, it wasn't my home.
Well, that's like filing a change of address form. Now that's your new home. So anyway, yeah, Amazon robots. The end is near, guys. The end is near. Hey, remember that Windows 8 thing?
That was the one that came before Windows 9, right?
Yeah. That never existed. So apparently, now we've probably all been there. There's a new version of Windows coming out. It's in beta or alpha, and you just can't wait to get your hands on it. I know I was there in the Windows 98 days. Did you have the Windows 90? Yeah, you were in the beta program, weren't you?
Windows XP beta, yeah.
Yeah. So I remember when Windows 98 came out, I had somehow gotten my hands on a pirated copy of the, liberated copy of the beta build for Windows 98 and ran it on my old 486, the same one I figured out batch commands on. And I remember thinking how awesome and neat it was to be, on the cutting edge. But apparently on later builds of Windows, they started including backgrounds so that when you installed it and booted it up, your default wallpaper had like a message on it that said, hey, don't pirate this stuff. Because you can't change your wallpaper.
Hey, don't pirate this stuff? Okay.
Yeah, well, it didn't quite say that. Like in the example here, it says, shh, let's not leak our hard work.
Well, I mean, that's really effective.
Yeah, well, I think that it's supposed to, and the article goes into this a little bit. I don't know how much of this you read, but I think I actually read the entire article for a change.
I'm impressed.
I am moving up in the world. I actually read the article before the show. It's mainly because
some of the article.
Mainly because my kids had dance class tonight, and that's when I was preparing for the show. And I needed something to do other than listen to screaming children and listen to other dance moms talk about whatever dance moms talk about.
Other dance moms. You put yourself in their list of dance moms.
I did do that, didn't I? Listen to dance moms. How's that?
It's too late. You can't pull it back now.
I can edit it.
That you could do.
I can edit it later, and I can make the YouTube video private, so only you folks who watched it live will know I ever said that. Anyway, so yeah, so these backgrounds are there not just to sort of display that you're on a beta build that you maybe shouldn't have, but it's also, I think, to remind developers that are working on it, hey, don't leak this, to like appeal to their better judgment. Like, don't do this.
You gotta remind the developers, hey, don't leak that thing that you're working on that you get paid for.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing says, shh, let's not leak our hard work. So that message is directed at the people working on it. So obviously this is a problem.
Okay.
So anyway, Microsoft was so sure that this would be leaked that instead of just leaving the messages on there, they decided to have some fun with it. And these wallpapers actually have a puzzle in them that as the beta builds progressed, they would release newer wallpapers with more pieces of the puzzle. It's a really interesting read. The article doesn't tell you what the solution to the puzzle was, but they link to a thread on Twitter. Because apparently Jansen Harris, who was they say what his title was. He worked on the development team for Windows 8.
He was a group program manager of Office and a Microsoft director leading the team working on the redesign of Windows 8.
There you go. He was that. He apparently came out and said, like, yeah, this was a thing that we did. And he was just sort of reminiscing about how it went and everything and about how it worked. Apparently at one point, they just had this like green background that has this grid of letters and numbers. It looks sort of like a crossword puzzle, right? And that's the puzzle. He took Photoshop and he just altered a couple pixels, and they were sort of spreading propaganda that says these altered pixels are our tracking software.
Yeah, embedded security.
Like this is somehow embedded into the wallpaper. And people believed it. They said they had the lowest level of pirated instances of Windows 8 with that build.
And that was the reason.
People were like scared of it, you know?
Yeah, it had nothing to do with the quality of Windows 8 at all.
Yeah, right. It wasn't that nobody could run the damn thing. Anyway, it's a neat article, and it's fun to sort of reminisce about these things. I had no idea that this existed until I read this today, even though I'm sure some people knew about it when it came out. But yeah, it's neat. People thought that the letters in the background, because that's what this grid of letters. People thought that it was like a special code, so that like if you took a screenshot of your desktop and someone at Microsoft saw the letters, they could identify you and find you.
Yep.
It's like,
and he said,
really, guys?
He's only aware of one person who solved it.
Yeah. That was sort of the crux of the article. You know, that like he's only aware of one person that solved it. And again, I didn't read what the solution was. I am curious though at this point. So yeah, Windows 8 has this cool little, whatever they call it, an Easter egg. I don't know if you call it. It's really just backgrounds.
Yeah, I don't know if it's really an Easter egg, but.
Yeah, it is neat, though. I mean, I think it shows some creativity on Microsoft's part. Like, yeah, guys, we know you're going to pirate this, so we're just going to do this thing. And when you get a hold of it, you're going to be perplexed by it. Remember that net neutrality thing that we had for a little while?
Yeah, let me get rid of that crap.
Apparently today.
Oh, good. It's about time.
April, it's going.
I, for one, feel that I'm paying too little for all of this content, and I demand that my bill goes up.
Yep. I'm still a little bit bitter. Not much, but just a little, a hair bitter.
Just a little.
Yeah. So anyway, this is basically from Inverse. I don't know, Inverse, the website, inverse.com, who I've never heard of before. It's amazing how many odd news sites I run across in preparing for this show. Inverse.
Even funnier is that when you start digging into who these people are, they're all the same. It's like just new names for the same stuff.
New themes too, because I've never seen this theme before.
Well, right. Well, it's,
Anyway, they're speculating that even though net neutrality goes out of effect, I guess you call it that, falls dead on its face today, they're speculating that ISPs aren't going to change a thing, at least not yet. They basically want to wait until we've all forgotten, which is sad.
What?
Yeah, what are we forgetting again? What was it? Net new what? Net neutrality?
I'm sorry, I've lost the entire. What are we talking about?
It's where the Farmvilles are.
Oh, yeah. Look, just leave my Farmville alone, will you?
So, yeah, I mean, they go on to explain why they think that is. But basically, it comes down to ISPs aren't going to cast, that's the wrong word. ISPs aren't going to draw attention to themselves until they think the public has forgotten. So, folks, stop forgetting.
Remember,
you need to. This is the way that the news cycle goes, right? There's a big deal about something, whatever it is, whether it's net neutrality or some hype about this or that, and then it gets people moving, and then the world forgets about it. So in this case, net neutrality. They're going to wait until everyone's like, "Oh, that net neutrality thing, what was that?" And then ISPs are going to start slowly taking your rights away.
Right.
So, I mean, I don't know what to do about that. I don't work in politics. I don't want to work in politics. But if someone listening works in politics, try to fight for our rights, please. Or tell us what we can do to help fight for our own rights, because this is getting ridiculous. It's getting taken away one at a time.
So I'm on a tangent here for a minute because
okay.
I got curious. Inverse is owned by a company called Full Stack Media.
Okay, which is owned by Fox News.
And if you go to Bloomberg, no, this appears to be the only one that they own, which is weird. If you go to Bloomberg and you read the company overview, I know you're not going to get this from looking at the site. It's totally not a blog.
Totally not a blog.
Full Stack Media operates an online platform offering news and insights on current and future social and lifestyle trends for men.
Just for men. Net
Yeah.
neutrality is only for men.
Oh, then I started scrolling through this and I'm like, tech. This is a tech blog. Except for the porg shaped vinyl. Because
wait, is there one with naked women in it? Because then it would really fit the profile.
No, let's see. We got Pokemon
Just
Go.
Cars? No cars. I'm being very stereotypical here.
CDC says throw your lettuce away.
How about what are millennials into? Man buns. How about man buns?
I don't know.
You don't get more men than man buns.
Twitter bans ads from Kaspersky Lab. I mean, all of this is tech.
Well, apparently, their
Battlefield 5
is accusing only men of being into technology. That cannot be right.
I guess. I don't know. It's weird. Anyway. All right. Tangent complete. Next.
Good.
Get in.
You go. You go work for Brian Krebs with all that investigative journalism you're doing.
Oh, it's in, baby. That's where it's at.
Yeah. So lock up your Drupals.
I did. What? Why? What happened this time?
Yeah,
I already updated it.
Yeah, like right before the show, just like I did.
Well,
hey, we were back in March.
I did the Drupalgeddon thing recently, and then there's a Drupalgeddon 2.
There's a second one, right? So if you guys remember back in late March, there was a bug that people were codenaming Drupalgeddon, which was some horrible exploit in Drupal that allowed like remote code nastiness. Hey, it's back. I don't know all the detail about how this is executed, but it sounds like it's a piggyback to the original Drupalgeddon. Just whatever it is that they patched wasn't fully patched, or they found a new exploit related to the same code. They're calling this one a SQL injection, which I didn't think the first Drupalgeddon was.
I can't remember.
I thought that was all remote code execution, but I guess SQL injection is remote code execution, right? Does that fall in the same category?
SQL injection.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Not an InfoSec professional or a paleontologist.
See, I think we did patch again. I patched against this because I remember this coming out in late March. This is a new article? This is a new article.
Yeah.
Oh, this is it's still being exploited. Oh, okay. So this is like a Windows vulnerability. Like, hey guys, we put a patch out. You should update this. Yeah, whatever. And then, people get popped by it left, right, and sideways. What's that? What's the window MS0867?
Yeah, no. Okay. So maybe I linked the wrong article. There is a piggyback. There is a new exploit. No? Am I wrong?
No, this is Drupalgeddon 2 was the one from March. The original Drupalgeddon was the remote code one in 2014.
Because I was just talking to our Drupal guy today at work, and he was saying, yep, there's another one. And then I found this article.
Yeah, well, maybe there's another one that came out.
He's wrong, too.
Let's see. That was the 20th. It's the 23rd. So maybe something came out this weekend. Let's see. News. There's a botnet that's exploiting it. There is. See, that one was out April 2nd. Yeah, Threatpost has a the Mustic botnet is apparently taking advantage of this one. Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah,
so it's been weaponized. That's all.
Okay, folks. So I have now done a bit of Googling, and yes, the exploit from the end of March is being called Drupalgeddon 2, even though no one called it that publicly that I saw.
Yes, they did.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, they did.
Not the articles I read.
Your Google foo is weak.
Okay, so at any rate,
Just patch your Googles, people.
yeah. So what
No,
it
no,
comes down
your
to
Drupals,
is
rather.
patch your
Pa-
Drupals.
You
So
can't patch your Googles.
yeah, people are actively exploiting Drupal. Drupal getting 2, the second one, which was not well. I feel like really like this has really gone poorly here, guys. Go ahead, make fun of Nate.
Why? That's easy.
Go on, make fun of me. You know you want to.
Didn't I do that already?
Yeah, I guess you kind of did. Everybody else. No, I mean this is still relevant. It's just not in the same context that I had originally thought. Yes, it's not a new exploit. It's that people are not patched yet, and now people are finally taking advantage of that.
Yes. As you know, as all good script kiddies do, they have weaponized it, and now they will take advantage of it.
Indeed. So on that note, I'm going to take us out of the news so I can stop making a fool of myself.
Okay.
That's what I get for not fully reading that article.
Well, look, you can't be right every time.
Right. Everyone's entitled to be wrong every now and then. Didn't we do a whole episode about how wrong I was?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
the last episode you were on.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It was not wrong. It was just sort of a mistake and all.
Yeah. Yeah. Gotta live up to those mistakes, huh? Own up. So anyway, the only announcement I've got is that the next LV Hackers / DEF CON 610 meetup is on March 2nd. I don't know that anybody from the show has ever shown up at the meetup. If you have, you didn't say hi to me, so you fail. Wait, except my coworker, but he didn't hear about it on the show. He heard about it directly from me, so that doesn't count.
Please show up. Please give Nate a hug. Otherwise, I got to hear about this all the time. Anyway. What else is going on?
You got anything cool happening in your neck of the woods? Which is like 2 miles from my neck of the woods at this point. Why'd you have to move so close? Now, like, all the news that's happening to me is also happening to you.
Probably because never mind. We're not going to go there.
Mm-mm.
Is there anything new happening in my neck of the woods? Not really. Same old.
Any new stray cats or bears in your neighborhood?
Was hoping the bear would eat the stray cat, but apparently it hasn't happened yet.
I think cats are hard to catch.
I think the bear needs to work harder.
I know from experience cats are hard to catch.
I think the bear needs to work harder.
You ever try to take a cat to the vet, man? You end up with scars.
Not a good excuse.
Not a good excuse. Oh, the bear can't catch the cat. Look, bears are big and lumbery. Haven't you ever seen them?
Yeah.
Just don't try to run from a bear.
Yeah.
You won't outrun them, but they are big and lumbery.
Look, if the bear can catch me and I can catch the cat, then the bear should be able to catch the cat, right?
Yes. This is totally how this works. Completely how this works.
Yeah, it's there's a mathematical rule. Something we can use there, sure.
If you're trying to outrun a dragon and you're in the company of a cat and a bear, you only have to outrun the cat.
Wait, who brought a dragon into this?
I don't know. I'm trying to work this into that old meme. So I don't want to include these as news because they're not news anymore. But did you hear about the Under Armour and Panera Bread breaches?
I think I heard about the Under Armour one because that was the MyFitnessPal breach.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it's more widely known as. But Under Armour owns MyFitnessPal.
Yeah, I probably heard the Panera Bread breach, but ignored it because,
You're not
most
accustomed
likely I
to
went, what else is new?
Yeah, yeah. Defensive Security at the beginning of April had a very good episode about these two. Wait, was it Defensive Security? No, it was. My mind is blanking. The British guy.
Admin?
Smashing Security.
Yeah. Okay.
Smashing Security.
I don't listen to Smashing
You don't
Security.
listen. You should. It's entertaining. It's very entertaining.
Dude,
you need another podcast. You need more.
I have 89 hours of Audible podcasts that I'm behind on, let alone the video ones. I'm probably got another 89 hours there of that.
Just go listen to 1 or 2 episodes then of Smashing Security. It's good. It's entertaining. It's good stuff. I might even say it's more entertaining than us. It's a high bar, right? It's a high bar.
Not really. Not really at all.
Anyway, yeah, they talked not to length because they're only a half-hour podcast, so they didn't talk a long time about it. But yeah, they compared the two because they both came out around the same time, and they compared the response from the two PR firms or PR whatever departments, and about how Panera was like, no, there's totally not a breach, and then it was like, oh well, you might think there were millions of people breached, but there's only about 10,000, and then it was more like, I don't know, 100,000 or something like that. And then Under Armour was just like, oh yeah, sorry guys, we screwed up. Here's what was breached. Here's the data that that you should watch out for. And by the way, if you're fed up with us and you want to delete your account, here's how to do it. Where Panera was like, no, I mean, go look over there. You should try a green tea smoothie.
No, you really shouldn't.
No, that sounds terrible.
They exist. You don't know.
Anyway, if you want a better blow by blow than I just gave, which is also a more accurate blow by blow, go listen to Smashing Security. I think it was their April 4th episode. I don't know what episode number it was, but it's a good podcast anyway.
Yeah, I mean, they probably just recycled an old podcast and said, "Oh, look, another thing got breached.
Let's just change the names.
We'll just edit in the new company." And today in the news, Panera Bread got breached.
That'd be perfect. That would be
great. We should try that one of these days. You, of course, do all the editing because I don't know how.
Yeah, you just
you'll be
talk.
really good at it.
You just talk into the internets, and I edit it later. So
a yell more. Yeah, it's like yell to the internets, and then
yell to the internets. Sort of like a tin can and a string. If you talk louder, it's louder on the other end. I mean, that really is how it works, I guess. Are you searching about how to yell into the internet?
No. I would not search for such a thing.
If I stretch my Ethernet cable a little tighter, will the sound carry better?
I've got my cable stretcher ready.
Yeah, right.
Alrighty. So we were going to talk about a thing.
Yeah. Well, it was one other thing I wanted to mention that I haven't delved deeply enough into, but it could be content for a future episode. ECS Fargate. Have you heard of this?
No.
You haven't? Okay, so remember on the episode, and I didn't do my homework. I should have looked up what episode it was, but we talked about ECS, Amazon's, Elastic Container Service?
Yeah, Elastic Container Service.
Yeah, remember how we didn't like how it was set up because it was like, okay, here, you're just going to run a Kubernetes or something like it cluster on EC2, and you're going to pay for it. Remember that was one of the things we didn't like about it?
Yeah.
Fargate solves that problem. It's a container service. So it's like, instead of you owning a cluster, maybe you still own a cluster, but it's abstracted away now.
Right.
You don't.
And this is going to work with EKS. Interesting.
What's EKS? Did I miss this one?
EKS is Amazon's Kubernetes setup.
Too many.
Elastic
too
Container
many
Service for
acronyms.
Kubernetes. It's currently in preview.
Yeah. So I actually I spun up a container on ECS Fargate 2 weeks ago at this point, but I didn't really get a chance to really poke at it, so I wasn't ready to present it as a thing here on the show yet. But it should be interesting. It feels more like OpenShift. OpenShift gives you a nice web UI where you can just like plug in a Git repo and it goes and gets your container and runs it.
Oh,
it feels much more like that. And you're build on the containers usage, not your clusters usage. You know what I mean?
So
right?
That makes a hell of a lot more sense.
It does. It does. So, I mean, if you were going to run 1 billion containers on EC2, then the old ECS architecture looked great, right? Because you just like, okay, I've got 3 or 4 EC2 instances. I know how to build for that, whatever. If you're going to run 1 or 2 containers and you spin up a whole cluster, you're just wasting money. So in this case, you can spin up a couple containers a lot more cost effectively than you could before, which was one of my primary complaints with ECS as we reviewed it, 6-8 months ago when we talked about it. So that looks interesting. I'm hoping to get my hands on it a little more deeply when I can focus on it a bit. And yeah, that should be content for another episode.
Okay.
I'm just getting back from vacation, and I was trying to not computer much on my vacation because of all the work I've been putting in, and it worked. I feel much more refreshed.
You were off of your computer for some
weird,
reason?
right?
I was working. I don't understand.
I was working in my garage. I spent time with these people that live with me. You may be familiar with the scenario, right? Where you have like a woman and small people that live in the house with you. Some people call them your family.
I think they're... Yeah, I've heard this before.
Of course, your small people aren't that small anymore. They're just young. Right?
Yeah, I guess. But I'm missing the part where you can't use a computer because of them. And I use my computer in the house all the time. I don't understand.
It wasn't that I couldn't. Try to grasp this concept. It was that I chose not to.
I don't. I mean, and I think I just lost my.
Just blowing your mind, aren't I? I mean, I played some video games, so I guess that's kind of like a computer.
But okay. I mean,
there was no command line involved.
I don't understand. You did this on purpose?
On purpose. Yeah. It's a really weird concept for you, I know. Are you familiar with the term vacation? From what I remember, you weren't.
Hang on. Google vacation.
You're going to find pictures of women on beaches and...
I put define vacation into Google and it didn't find anything.
Did it just send you to a bunch of travel agents?
There's a movie. There's these things called vacation packages. Is it some sort of new package management system?
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I decompressed a bit, which I needed, and it's helped. I'm in a much better mood than I was after all those recoveries I had to do after my big nasty rev mistake. So yeah. Unfortunately, I didn't take any of that time to look at ECS Fargate, which I could have, but again, chose not to.
I'm really lost here.
You're having trouble with this. You're having lots of trouble with this.
I think I need a vacation.
You might. All right, so I guess that's all we got going on. Unless you got something else you want to chat about?
No. I got nothing.
Nope.
Got nothing.
Nope. So, folks, if you want to see all of my air quotes that I've been putting around vacation, you should watch us live on YouTube. Like one person is at the moment who we've been chatting with, or I've been chatting with. You might be missing out, Jason. You should go
Wait,
check out the
how
chat
do I-
on YouTube.
Wait, there's a chat? Oh,
It's totally.
hi,
There's a
person
chat.
I can't see. I'm going to push the button. Clicky, clicky.
And it's gonna start
Oh, cool.
playing and
Now-
annoying you.
Now I'm listening to you tell me that I'm missing out. This is great.
You're a little bit behind, huh?
Yeah, that's always wow. Let's see. You're wrong for not enabling Giphy on Slack. I agree.
Yeah, I don't know
Uh-oh.
how I missed that. Really.
What's this thing with all the stars? Did he like type a password in here and we can't see it or something?
Yes. Wait. What? No.
I'm sorry. It's my inner IRC.
Yeah. So anyway, folks, if you want to watch us live, I know we're not on our very regular schedule, but if you subscribe on YouTube and hit that little bell, it will tell you when we go live. I didn't come up with a creative way that Google will notify you last time. The first time it was a Google employee will find you and tap you on the shoulder. The next time it was the Google dirigible will come out and hover outside your window. This time maybe a Google leprechaun will show up and give you a pot of Google Plus invites.
Wouldn't it be like a Google Con?
A Google. Now that sounds more like a convention.
Maybe. All right.
So
what do we do
anyway,
now, what's the next
think
thing
we're
we
gonna-
do?
We're
It's been
gonna
a
move
while.
on to our argument or discussion or whatever. But first, I missed the button.
Missed the button? What exactly is in that mug?
In the mug is from Saugatuck Brewing Company. Saugatuck. Darker than your soul.
I don't have one of those.
It's a very dark stout. It's very good. If you like stouts.
Yeah. Yes, I do. I love stouts.
It's made in Michigan. You know
Okay.
who I'm talking to.
Oh,
Maybe you don't.
I do.
But when he hears that, he'll know who I'm talking to. I think the last time I drank one of these beers, he told me how to properly pronounce Saugatuck. And to be honest, I can't remember.
What is that? SAU?
Saugatuck. Saugatuck,
Saugatuck?
maybe. Saugatuck.
Sagata.
Saugatuck.
Sagata.
Suck it up.
Sogita.
Yeah, right.
I believe I will see said person tomorrow morning. So
Good. You can remind them to watch the show or listen to the show.
if I remember. Not gonna remember what I did tonight. And I'm not even drinking, so
Yeah. Hey, we got someone else in the chat. Apparently it's a good night for chat, except they don't know what we're talking about. So, hi, Snake the Blood God. Have a beer on us.
do I answer them? I mean,
You go right ahead. Answer him all you want. I'm going to start talking about our main topic. So, there are two, well, maybe there's several, but there are two big names in CMS for your various blogs or web pages or whatever. There's the Drupal crowd, which we just talked about in Drupalgeddon 2, which is not a new exploit, which I just found out tonight. And then there's WordPress, which everyone thinks is a horrible piece of garbage or the savior. So, pick one. So tonight, I guess we're just going to sort of go back and forth about which we like more. I have run both. I don't know, Jason, I think you have too, right?
yes, I have run both, not by choice.
Yeah, well, you were
Yes,
in
I
like a
have run
hosting
both.
environment where you were responsible for sites that ran on both, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I worked at the same place you do, so.
Well, no, I mean, well, whatever. You've had experience with both.
Yes, I have experience with both.
So personally, I ran all my personal sites on Drupal for a very long time. And recently I've started switching some of them over to WordPress, just like ironsysadmin.com, which was sort of a sub page on my own personal blog. I moved it over to WordPress because it needed its own site. And to be honest, well, WordPress just seemed like a good fit. So I thought, what the heck, give it a try, right? And I've gotten endless ridicule from some people and endless praise from others for making the switch.
I feel like you got lazy.
Well, sort of. You could call it lazy. You could simply say that I'm tired of working hard to run a web page. And that is really the first thing I would say that is a benefit of WordPress. If you just want a place to write articles or release podcasts or whatever it is that you're doing, you just want to be able to log in, type it up, attach your media, and publish it. I think WordPress works really well for that. You're busy typing in the chat, aren't you?
Yeah. No, I mean, if you want to be able to do one thing, then yeah, I guess WordPress is sufficient for that. I mean, I don't know that I consider WordPress really to be I guess technically it's a CMS, but
it's really not, it's more like a blog platform, but I feel like it's more than that.
Well, I mean, they've added plugins and stuff to make it do other things, but that doesn't mean that it is a full-featured CMS.
Well, so what I expected out of WordPress was a blog platform. And what I got was something that seemed a little more flexible than that. Not nearly as flexible as Drupal. I will say that. I still think Drupal has its place as a very flexible, true CMS. And I feel like development on Drupal is also easy enough that anybody with some PHP skills can write their own modules for Drupal, which is great, which means it's almost infinitely extensible.
Right.
So, I mean, you run Drupal a couple of things. What do you love so much about Drupal?
Just the extensibility. I've been able to do crazy, just crazy sites with databases and whatnot in it. It seems more full featured than to me, and I have a huge problem with the security in WordPress.
Several people, especially the folks who think WordPress is just a horrible piece of garbage. And I don't think this is a challenge to anybody listening. I actually invite you to try to show me the error in my ways using ironsysadmin.com since it's running on WordPress. And none of them have come up to the challenge. So far, I'm not saying it's impenetrable because that's not possible. I'm saying that nobody has actually stepped up to that plate and shown me, it's totally insecure. Yes,
no,
WordPress has had its problems.
It's gotten better in recent years.
A lot of them are from badly written modules. A lot of them are from poorly run applications. And I still feel like with a decent sysadmin behind it, and at least some attention to what modules you're running, you can run a secure WordPress site. Now, if I get proved wrong, fine. I get that. Like, nothing is foolproof. But nobody's been able to really show me something that's a smoking gun that'll say, like, oh, WordPress is horrible, don't run it. And I mean, the recent Drupalgeddon shows us that Drupal's not invulnerable either.
Yep, agreed.
I honestly feel like Drupal suffers from the same thing that some lesser known operating systems do, in that they're not the prime target. So much of the web is run on WordPress that it's a target. It's got a big target on its back because people, they look for the thing that's the juiciest, target, right?
Well, I mean, I don't know what it's running now, but whitehouse.gov used to be Drupal.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it was, let's see, it's quite famously Drupal, actually. It was a big deal when they switched to Drupal when Obama was elected. It doesn't really say what it is anymore.
Now it's like a hand-coded static HTML.
Nope, it's WordPress now.
Well, look, if the White House can run WordPress.
Yep. Yep, it's definitely WordPress now. Oh, and look, it looks just like a blog. How weird. Wow.
Well, I mean,
really
that is what
like
WordPress is good at.
It's about as bloggy as you can get. Jesus. I haven't been to this site in a long time. This is, yeah. All right. Before we start another war,
not whitehouse.com, right? Is that still
talking about that? So anyway,
wow, it looks like a blog. You're right.
Yeah, it's about as bloggy as you get. Like there's no non-blog content there at all anymore.
Well, you know.
Again, there be dragons here. Let's stop talking about this.
Yeah. Yeah, like Drupal versus WordPress. There's no dragons there, right?
I think there's less dragons.
Yeah. Oh, you're absolutely right there. So yeah, I mean, I've got lots of respect for Drupal. I still run some sites on Drupal. I still feel like WordPress is just an easier place to put your content. I guess it depends what you're trying to do.
Yeah, looks like Snake believes that we should be going to the large platforms like YouTube and not bothering to set up our own stuff.
Don't get me started on YouTube. I think I've mentioned this on the show before. My other hobby is, the Jeep world. And I run a YouTube channel where I release garage and how-to and off-roading videos. And YouTube has wronged me a number of times. So don't get me started on YouTube.
Oh, I can't believe that.
It'll not be great. It will not be great.
Google would never wrong anybody. Must be you.
Exactly. No, well, I don't want to derail our main topic too much, but I'll say that I was finally on the cusp of starting to make money off of my videos, and then they changed the rules back in February. And now my channel is basically, not making any money except for YouTube, except for Google, I'm sure. But, whatever. I still enjoy doing it, so I'm going to keep doing it. Maybe there will be a day when there's money to be had, but even still, the money you can make on YouTube is minimal. Of course, the money you can make on your own website could be minimal too, I guess, unless you have advertising, which we do not on IronSysAdmin.com. It's solely a place to release these episodes. And really, it's just
very proud of that.
It's just an aggregation point for RSS is what it really comes down to. I release episodes on there solely so that they can be in the RSS feed and get propagated out to, Google and iTunes or Apple Podcasts, sorry, and Stitcher and places like that. So,
right.
But back on topic, WordPress does that really, really easily. There's like a couple checkboxes and bam, you've got an RSS feed coming out of your thing. On Drupal, I had to like craft a view, and then I had to do like a custom field to contain the episode. And the first time I did this, it was like a whole afternoon of work.
So the one thing that Drupal doesn't do well is blogging.
Yeah, right. Imagine that, right? Imagine that, right?
So I mean, there's that. So I guess it depends on what you're after. If what you're after is roughly a blog, then WordPress really does fit the bill.
Yeah. So for most of the sites that I run, I want to be able to write a thing, whether it's an article or a blog post or whatever. I want to be able to embed media, whether it's audio like this podcast or pictures like for my Jeep site. And I want to just be able to do it easily.
Right.
So, I mean, imagine like a magazine, which is sort of how I picture my Jeep site. It's not quite a magazine, obviously. That's giving myself way too much credit, but it's run in the same style like a magazine would be. There's technical articles, there's informational articles, and there's blog style articles. And really, that's WordPress does all of those things beautifully. If I wanted to make some sort of hyper custom site that is really, really crazily configurable, then I'd probably go right to Drupal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, that works. I just, maybe I'm just lazy and I don't want to move. It's there. It exists. It's in a container. I push a button, it runs, and I'm good.
Yeah. So I had, like I said before, I had Iron Sysadmin was just basically a view inside of my Drupal site on my personal site for a long time. And then when I stood up ironsysadmin.com on WordPress, I had to somehow import that content. And that was content coming from Drupal 8 into WordPress 4. And I had done this conversion with my Jeep site, which was running on Drupal 7 into WordPress 4. All the migration tools are written for Drupal 7. There are none, or at least there weren't at the time that I did ironsysadmin.com for Drupal 8. So the database structure is different and it didn't work properly. So that was kind of a pain in the butt. So yes, migration from Drupal 8 to WordPress is a pain in the butt. Migration from Drupal 7 to WordPress is actually not that bad. There was a module I found for WordPress that I turned on just long enough to get my migration done and then turned back off again. That was actually pretty slick.
Yeah, I still not off of Drupal 7, mostly because the Drupal 8 stuff that I had done or I had attempted to do just didn't work.
Yeah.
And then I ran out of time and patience, so I gave up.
That's another fun thing with Drupal releases. Going from a major release to the next major release is always painful. Remember the Drupal 6 to 7 upgrade? Oh my god, that was horrible.
Well, yeah, I mean, it wasn't, I don't know, it wasn't quite as, like, there was no expectation, so it was like, or rather, the expectation from 6 to 7 was, hey, you're gonna pretty much have to rebuild everything. And it was like, okay, well, done. I'll have to rebuild everything. Whereas the 7 to 8 was, hey, we built these really cool these really cool importers and everything, and you can just use that. And that doesn't work at all. I can't get the damn thing to work.
Now, when I did the migration for my personal site from 7 to 8, I used their importer, and it actually worked. It brought over the podcast, because I think when we started the podcast, I was still on 7. It brought over all the content for the podcast. It brought over all of my articles. It brought over all of my blog posts, and they just came right in.
Yeah, I guess
it wasn't pretty on the other side. I had to do a lot of work to get all the formatting and stuff back, but it brought all the content over.
No, I guess my site is too complex. I guess I didn't really think it was that complex, but I guess
maybe.
I know that I imported it, and most of it said imported all the content, but most of it just wasn't there.
Trying to remember if I ran into any lost content. I think the first time around I did, and then I had to tweak some things, and I was able to get it back. I forget what it was. It's been a while.
Right. Yeah, I sort of went, okay. I guess this is like right when 8 came out and the initial importers were there. So I sort of gave up and then tried again, I don't know, a couple months later, and
I
still didn't work.
I waited a good year before moving to Drupal 8. I looked at it right when it came out, and then I didn't do it for time reasons and whatnot. I figured Drupal 7 was still supported. I'll stick with that. And then I finally moved, and it really wasn't that bad. So maybe you should try again.
In my spare time, when I'm on
vacation.
Just
move to WordPress, man.
In my spare time, when I'm on vacation.
On vacation, the thing that you were unaware of. So in a future episode, if we can ever get scheduling right and timing and whatever, we're going to have a guy that I work with who is our WordPress admin on the show to talk more about WordPress and how to run it well and whatnot. So I have to work that out with him. We were going to have him back in like December, and then scheduling fell through, and we haven't been able to reschedule. So there will be an upcoming episode where we talk more about WordPress. You know any great Drupal guys? We could interview them too.
No, I'm sort of out of that. I don't really do that much anymore. So
yeah, so the mutual friend of yours and mine, who was a big Drupal guy, is now a WordPress guy.
Is he?
Yeah.
Traitor.
He actually worked for Acquia, the people who back Drupal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and is now no longer a Drupal guy. He doesn't work for Acquia anymore either. So I don't know if it's just politics, like I hate Acquia, so I'm going to not run Drupal, or if he really hated the platform that much. But yeah, he's a WordPress guy now.
I don't think I knew that. I thought he was still doing Drupal stuff.
Nope.
I
don't know where he's working now, but he's not doing Drupal anymore.
Nope, no idea.
All right, so did you have anything else you wanted to try to sling at poor WordPress?
Didn't really think I slung much at it to begin with, but no.
I'm you started to try, but then it didn't really work out. Sorry, guys. We came up with this topic very late in the day, like 10 minutes before the show started, because we're running out of topic ideas, and I didn't have time to think of it because I was busy vacationing. This was Jason's idea. Blame him.
You're correct. This is why I don't choose the topics.
No, this could have been. I mean, I don't know. I hope it helps somebody. But at any rate, yeah, Drupal and WordPress. I honestly, I think they're both pretty good CMSs, depending on what you want to do with them. You know, I don't know that one is really any sufficient, like significantly more secure than the other. WordPress just has a really bad rap, in my opinion.
I don't know. I think you know, maybe we should look at crap. I can't even remember the one I was going to throw out there.
What was the one you used to be on?
Oh, for blogging? I'm still
Yeah.
on it. I use Serendipity for blogging.
Didn't you just say you were on Drupal?
No. I'm using Drupal for other things. Drupal makes a horrible blog. I'd like to unify on a platform, but Drupal makes a horrible blog. So I think the one site that I have, I don't know that I could do that with WordPress, because it's more of a database than anything. So I don't know that I would want to try. I would
for the
love
site you have
to
on Drupal or on Serendipity?
On Drupal.
Oh,
Serendipity is just a blog. That's pretty simple. But
yeah, so I mean, I've had one or two things that I've done on Drupal that I don't think would have translated well to WordPress. Maybe.
Yeah. Maybe I'll look at Joomla.
There you go. Go to Joomla. I actually had someone tell me that Joomla was superior to WordPress, and I should do that.
Last time I looked, they were still having all sorts of crazy security issues with Joomla.
I had once, when I worked in a web hosting environment, I set up a place for someone to run Joomla, but I didn't actually administer it. They did. The customer did.
I don't know that if I've been on a Joomla site, I didn't know it.
Yeah, that's the only exposure I've had to Joomla. Was that one instance at that web hosting company I worked at.
Yeah, they're up to 3.7 apparently. No, 3.8. I don't know. I honestly don't know. They say they power millions of sites, but I don't know a single one.
Millions!
Anyway, we could just
give up
and go to Medium.
There's Drupal and there's WordPress. You should choose wisely.
Or, you know, use many of the sites that are out there that you don't have to administer at all, depending on what you're up to.
A site that I don't have to administer at all. That sounds awesome.
Well, you go cloud. WordPress has a cloud.
Do they generate the content for me too?
No. That's crazy talk.
Can we just outsource the whole podcast and everything? I could just sleep on my Monday nights. No, I guess that'd be sort of counterproductive, wouldn't it?
Yeah, we could probably pay a couple people to do podcasts for us.
Maybe we could have robots do the podcast.
I'm sorry, I misspoke. You can pay to have a couple of people do the podcast for you.
Huh. I don't know if that's going to work.
Probably not.
We could have the listeners pay. Listeners, if you want to hear robots do the podcast, start sending us money via Patreon to pay for the robots. Or the actors.
That sounds fun.
Robot pod. Is that like robot casting?
Robot casting?
Yeah. I think we've come up with a new technology here. Robot podcasting.
Amazon.
We can all listen to robots tell us.
Do the podcasting for us.
Amazon's robots, they would all use the creepy Alexa voice. I'm sorry if you own an Echo device and I just triggered it. I'm sorry, folks. I didn't mean to do that.
Alexa, play Iron Sysadmin podcast.
Yes. Oh, God, there's a Jeep podcast I listen to that they recently got themselves into Alexa's podcast listening. Sorry, Amazon's podcast listening. I didn't say the word. I promise. And on every episode, I'm so glad I do not own an Echo device, because on every episode, he has this sound clip where he tells the Echo to play the Jeep podcast, and it starts playing it, and he uses the keyword. And I'm like, dude, this is so not cool. There are people with Amazon Echo devices that are cursing your name right now.
I think it's hysterical.
He may do it on purpose. I don't know. That could be why he's doing it.
Yep.
So anyway, I think we've exhausted the Drupal and WordPress thing. We could probably talk much more intelligently about this if we had planned.
Maybe, but there's no fun in that. There's
no fun in planning. Not at all.
No.
Well, folks, at least you had some news articles, except for that one about Drupal getting 2, that might be of value to you. Right? Totally.
Maybe.
So if what's that?
Update your Drupals.
Update your Drupals. If you haven't done so since late March, update your Drupals, because they are going to be exploited at any minute. They could be exploited right now. You won't.
Well, I mean, it's drive-by exploits, so
yeah. So, if you want to chat with us, like some people are doing, you can either do it while the show's live via YouTube, or you can join our Slack workspace, which was at a nice URL that I had crafted a redirect for, which doesn't work anymore, which I haven't fixed yet. But if you go to ironsysadmin.com, there is a menu at the top for how you can contact us, and the Slack workspace is one of the links in that that menu. So come on over, join Slack. We got a couple of people there. We have recently set up some sub-channels for things like InfoSec and networking and professional development, which we called pro networking for some reason. I made that, didn't I? That looks like something I would have misnamed. And whatever, and systems, and like, cool, you can come talk to people in the industry. If you're new and you want to learn, come on over. If you're a pro and you want to help people, come on over. That's why we run this thing. You can also talk to the hosts if you have any suggestions on what it is that you want to hear on the show. You can hit us up that way. So, yeah, come on over. Slack. As I mentioned before, podcasts have some expenses. If you want to help us with those expenses, hit us up on Patreon, patreon.com/ironsysadmin, and you can give us whatever you want. I don't care if it's a penny. Whatever you can afford is cool. And please give us feedback in any way you can. You can either email us. I think it's still podcast@ironsysadmin.com, unless that stopped working for some reason, like my redirects did. Or you can hit us up in comments on YouTube, or you can give us reviews on iTunes, or you can send some smoke signals if you're in the same vicinity that we're in. And we can do it that way.
Getting all sorts of fancy now.
Yeah, smoke signals, man. I just got to learn how to read them. Are they kind of like binary?
ASCII encoded binary.
ASCII encoded binary.
Binary encoded ASCII?
Binary encoded. Yeah, totally. Right? All right, I think we're done for tonight. We have beaten the horse to death. Right? Did you have any more nonsense to spew into the internet?
There's always nonsense to spew on the internet, but it's going to get lost. There's plenty of nonsense out there already.
We haven't talked about Nazis yet.
Godwin's Law?
Don't talk about Nazis. We're done. All right, folks. If you want to find us on Twitter, at Iron Sysadmin, we're also on the Facebook. You can just go search for us there.
I'm not.
We're not on Google Plus, so don't try. You can find me on Twitter at Gangriff. Jason, you want to tell the people how they can find you?
Yeah, I'm on the Twitters at Xenophage.
At Xenophage. There's no Z.
No Z. Do I have? I think I have a Google Plus.
I do too, but I absolutely never use it.
I don't think I've logged into it in like, how many years has that thing been out? How the hell do I get to it?
Like 7?
What's this button do?
8? It's like plus.google.com. Go check it out. While Jason tries to figure out his Google Plus account, I'm going to play the outro music, which is Creative Commons. It's a band called Tritachyon. It's awesome. You should go check them out. They make some pretty cool music. I love using them in my videos and things. What?
I said, hey, check that out. I have a Google Plus.
Indeed. All right, guys. You guys have a good night. I'm going to find the outro button. All right. That's another wrap.
That's a wrap.
Thank you, Mr. Snake and Nick and Nicholas. Wait, no, Nick. Okay. Yes, they're the same person. For chatting with us on the YouTube. It's pretty cool. I like the interaction. We need more of that.
Yes.
Interaction is fun. All right. I think that's a night, folks. We will see you in 2 weeks.